Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about killing fun in your Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I, J. Scott Garibay, am stating flat out, you need to kill fun in your Dungeons and Dragons game. And I'm going to illustrate a story for you today and explain to you why. But let's address the obvious before we go a step further. I know my content upsets a lot of people, right? And I'm gonna warn you now. If you're upsettable, if you got a kind of a weak temperament, or I'm not even say a weak temperament. If you got a fragile temperament, right? You might want to move on from this one, all right? Because I'm telling you, I know people are going to get upset with this, right? But the reason why I'm saying it is not to upset people, but specifically to because the stakes are so high. There are high stakes in Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. People do not like to hear that. They want to be like, "Oh, Scott, I assure you, there are no stakes at my table. My game is fun, and my people have fun, and we're accomplishing nothing. And I also want to assure you that no one should look at me, the Dungeon Master, as an example for anything." Right? Like, okay, all right. But I disagree, right? I think there are no low stakes humans as dungeon masters. I don't think there are any dumb dungeon masters. I don't think there are dungeon masters that don't have the potential to change the world, and I demand it. I demand it of you. You're like, Scott, I don't like having things demanded of me, right? I want to be stroked for my very lackluster performance and low stakes and not wanting to be a role model. Well, guess what? There's 100 channels that will do it. Just slide over to the left or to the right on YouTube, and you'll find some nonsense D&D channel that'll talk to you about subclasses and squawk about what they don't like about the last, D&D book, and call you to nothing. That's not this channel, right? And if you don't like being called to something, if you don't like having someone on the internet demand you do more and be more and not abandon your potential, you're in the wrong place. Okay? All right, let's go forward. Okay. Why? Why do you need to kill fun in your Dungeons and Dragons game? Because something's going to die in your Dungeons and Dragons game, and you need to determine what, right? You either kill fun and you ascend your Dungeons and Dragons campaign to the next level. Okay? What is the ascension of a D&D game, D&D campaign? You move your D&D campaign to a higher to a higher level of quality. You move your D&D campaign to a new, shining, brilliant form of art. You move your Dungeons and Dragons game. You elevate it, right, to a new form of human interaction between you, your players, and society, right? And if you think I'm wrong, look over at the critters. They are changing American culture. They are changing society, right? They are changing people's values. They are changing people's thoughts on what happens in, around, and beyond Dungeons and Dragons, right? And I'm calling you to do the same, but in different ways, right? Mercer started the ball rolling, but he's not even remotely the end, right? And frankly, he has a very limited, shallow understanding of Dungeons and Dragons, right? But he has an incredible understanding of humans, right? And so he has been able to use Dungeons and Dragons to shape culture and shape society. That's what this channel is about. Shaping people, shaping tables, and shaping society, right? Because to me, it's not enough to shape yourself and your table. You must go beyond. I demand it. I demand it of you, right? And again, if you don't like that, shove off. Go find some D&D commentary channel that will stroke your ego for doing nothing and remaining nothing. You will not get that here. All right? All right, let's keep going. All right, so why do I feel so passionate about this? Well, I witnessed something recently which really dramatically explained to me what's at stake with Dungeon Masters and with not making fun your goal. If you make fun your goal at your table, you are harming in my opinion, you are harming yourself, you are harming your table, you are harming society by keeping them from the higher levels of constructivity, of being constructive, right? All right, so here we go. All right. Yesterday, took off work, and I went to my daughter's art chapel. What the heck's an art chapel? It's something special they do at her school, and it's only for seniors, so she's a senior in high school, and she did this art chapel. And I have to tell you, I was absolutely blown away. So my daughter is an artist, a visual artist, painting, sculptures, all right, and it's drawings, marker, all kinds of mediums, right? And I provision her as an artist, but I'm not the only person who provisions her as an artist, right? And what do I do to provision my daughter as an artist? Well, as an artist, I spend a lot of money, and I encourage her verbally. So I buy the most expensive markers I can find at Blick. I buy the most expensive sketchbooks at Blick. She tears through them and then needs more. I buy pastel oil paints, and I buy easels, and I buy just an array of products, and then I buy it all again when she's blasted through them and used them all, right? And then and at home, what she does is she draws a ton of anime characters, shows me what she's created, and I go, that's awesome, that's really great, right? Because I have to say, I look at her and I see her having fun, right? Well, I went to this art chapel, and I'm not kidding you, there were like 200 students in the room. We were me, my wife, and my parents were all brought up to the front row, and her artist teacher came to us and said, what your daughter has done is incredible. I don't think I've ever seen a student direct a large group of people around her art and draw them in and create something as unique as what you're about to see today, right? So I was like, thank you, art teacher. And then they did this presentation in front of all the kids in the high school, right? And I was astounded. This other teacher, an older female teacher, comes up and she says, what you're about to see, we've done art chapels before, but usually art chapels are 4, 6, 8 students who are in the art class, seniors who are in the art class a year, and they share the stage. This year, only one student is on stage. Only one student is on stage. She'll be performing with her art teacher, right? And the two of them together are going to create this piece of art iteratively in front of you, right? And it's going to be a piece of art, but it's also going to be a performance, right? And when I first heard about this, and the teacher says this, she said, when I first heard about this, I was worried because we've always done this with 4 to 8 students. And I was like, how is one student going to fill this space, right? And what you're about to see is amazing and beautiful, and you are going to be blown away. And I'm like, oh my gosh, could you please shut up? Right? Like in my head, I'm like, could you stop saying this? You're overselling it, right? Because my whole life is under promise, over deliver, right? So I'm like, you're hyping this up to the point where everybody's going to expect her to, break the world in half, right? And I'm like, please don't set my daughter up like this, right? Well, she was right. So the lights go down, ultraviolet lights come on, and this 5x5 painting is there, and one central figure in the middle of the painting just shines out with this brilliant, fluorescent light in the darkness, right? And the performance starts, right? And my daughter and her art teacher together, like, just start scribbling all over this 5x5, with these like fluorescent chalks, and just go to town on this thing, right? And they create this picture of a girl with a book, and there's a lion in the middle, and there's just and it's amazing, right? And they just do all this, sketching and all this stuff, and they do that for like 10 minutes, and then the lights come back on, the ultraviolet light goes off, and it's just regular lighting, and now the painting is blank, and you don't see, this canvas is blank, and you can't see anything because of the lighting. And then the two of them go to town with this black charcoal, and they just sketch like crazy all over it, right? And you see this one picture, and then at the end it shuts back down, and a different set of lighting comes on, and they have smudged and made all and a third image emerges, right? And all of this is while other students play piano and read the script my daughter wrote and sing songs and layer art over art over art. And I had to stop myself from weeping in front of all these people, because I had never seen what my daughter was, which is the kernel of a world-class artist. She is not having fun, right? And I asked her she's having fun when she sketches anime characters at home, right? But this other art provisioner had pushed her, right? And said, in different words, but this sucks. Do more, be more. Don't stay in the fun zone. And my daughter has had major problems with the art teacher, because the art teacher is like, art doesn't begin and end with anime. I'm going to call you to the masters, right? And it's just demanded more and pushed more, and said in 100 ways, kill the fun. You are a world-class artist. Get there, be it, do it. This isn't about fun. This ain't little league energy. This is big league energy, right? And this other provisioner in her life has driven her and said, I demand more of you, right? Be more, do more, right? And said all these things in a respectful and tolerant and kind manner, but demanded more, right? And encouraged my daughter to kill the fun and drive to quality, drive to new forms of art, drive to be more than she thought she was, right? That I am so incredibly fortunate to have that artist teacher who did more than me when it came to the art that was being created. And that's what I'm trying to do to you. Kill the fun. It is holding you back. It is making it so your D&D game will always be nothing. Be more. Do better. Don't let people tell you that what you're doing is as small as a game. It is life-changing. It is society-changing. Don't let anyone rob you of it. That's my opinion. I'm willing to hear your opinion in the comments below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.